Hey guys, welcome into today's video. We're going to be doing a little bit of late night light bright filming because I just received my new palette today. This is the Too Faced Italian Spritz palette. I'm excited. I want to do 2 looks with this palette. I personally have never purchased a tin palette from Too Faced. I have 2 palettes in my collection and they're both in cardboard packaging. So this is my first one to add to my collection. I'm quite excited. I've seen like a couple of, not full reviews on them, but like the highlights of like someone posted a video and they said that this palette was really good. And even though I purchased it before I saw those posts, I was like, all right, good. And then I got really excited because I'm glad that it's going to be a good quality. I've heard some of the Too Faced palettes recently have kind of been like little duds, like they just weren't as good as a lot of people thought they were going to be. So I'm quite excited for this. I think it's really nice packaging. Like I could see the hype around this kind of component. It's just pretty sturdy, and I did open it because I couldn't help myself. We're gonna do 2 looks today. We'll take a look at the box a little bit, the packaging, and we'll do a couple of swatches. Here's the outside carton. It looks identical to the packaging of the tin. Here is the color story that they have on the back. Here is the front of the palette, very cute, and here is the back. I've never had like one of my Too Faced palettes have a scent before. How can I describe this? It smells a little bit perfumey. I wouldn't say that it smells like a tropical drink or anything like that, but it definitely smells very nice. But the scent isn't overpowering. It's not like so strong that when you open the palette, you smell it. You kind of have to get really close. I don't know, in case you were curious about that. Here is the color story. I think it's gorgeous. I actually think it's quite warm leaning. They have a couple of fun like pops of color in here. This is like a deeper blue. It almost matches my nails. And then there's this lighter blue shimmer in here. You have this one very like light purple lavender, what looks like a topper right here. So some fun splashes of color. I think we can create 2 fun looks today, but there are some neutral shades in here. So this could be a palette that you could absolutely grab for an everyday use to wear like more neutral looks. I do want to swatch a couple of the shades, at least some of the shimmers and some of the mattes. So I'm going to take this first one in Ciao Bellini right here, because doesn't that look beautiful? This looks like a shimmer that I would wear on an everyday basis. I can tell just by like the texture that they feel very creamy but thick. That one's like, for example, not a topper shade. So I'll just do a live swatch for you. Ooh, yes. I'm already excited about the formula of this. I'm just gonna take the next one, which is in Take Me to Church. Yeah, same exact like formula. It's just very creamy but kind of chunky. All right, here is the swatch. These have like a good stick to them. They're a very sticky shimmer. I definitely want to swatch this light blue shade in the corner. It also looks like a topper shade. This is in Lake Como. There is the swatch on that one. That's definitely a topper shade. Doesn't have a whole lot of pigment. We'll do the next one, which is in Spritz and Glitz. This is the other one that I said looked like a topper shade. Now let's swatch some of these darker blues down here. Oh, this one looks rich. Ooh, I like it. I like that one. And then this one's Como After Dark. It almost looks like a super deep teal or like a green. Ooh, that one's beautiful too. I don't know, it almost looks like a charcoal color when you get it swatched out. Let's go into some of these mattes. So I'm gonna take this one, Win in Rome, which is like a pretty true pinky shade. Take this one in Capri Fun. It's like an orange. Yeah, they seem really pigmented, like not patchy, swatching well. So there's just a couple of the colors swatched. You definitely have some toppers in here, which don't excite me all that much. I'm just not into toppers very often. If I'm gonna play with a shimmer, like I want it to be kind of chunky and light reflective. These 2 colors are beautiful, and so I actually wish they would have been not toppers, but they would have been like more pigmented, more impactful shimmers. That would have been my personal preference. I like the variety in here though. These are super chunky. I was noticing like on my swatch at the top here, like a bunch of kind of like chunks left over, so I can see them like being really pigmented and creamy and easy to apply. One of the things that I've been liking doing lately is using a silicone brush, and I think that these shimmers will apply really well with the silicone brush. So let me kind of take a look at this and think about the 2 looks I want to create, and then we'll start on one of the looks. All right, so I did take a look at these and I think I know what I want to do. I might go in a different direction just depending upon how the eye turns out, but I think I'm going to do a halo eye today on both eyes, and I want to do one pinky look and one orange look. So I think what I'm going to do for like the more orangey orangey look. I'm gonna use the shade right here to start and go in the inner and outer corner. Then I'm going to deepen it up with this shade right here. I must play with this one because this is my favorite shimmer in the palette. The one in Ciao Bellini, it just is calling my name. Like I need to use that. I think though that I'm gonna start this shade as like a transition, and then I think we'll just go from there. I think that's the first eye look that we're gonna create. So I'm just gonna take a pretty fluffy brush and go into that Toasted in Tuscany shade and just kind of build a bridge. I'm gonna call it a bridge. It's gonna be a bridge between the halo eye. I did kind of like the swatch test on my arm, and that blue in Lake and Bake, the blue shimmer, the deep one, is so pigmented, it was staining. And some of the other shades were also pretty staining. Like, so I think that they're gonna be a really long-lasting formula. I wasn't through the moon about the two eyeshadow palettes that I have from Too Faced in my collection. They've been like okay, but they weren't my favorite formula. So the couple of reviews just based on like, hey, a notification that another YouTuber has posted a video on this palette came up and they're like, ooh, this is really good. And like the title has got me super excited. So I'm gonna start with that. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna use like a flat packer brush. It is like stained, but clean. And I'm gonna start like building this shade in the inner corner. I'm hoping for no fallout, but not expecting it. That's why I kind of left my base blank so that if there is, we can kind of do some cleanup. I think I'm gonna leave it like this and then start the same thing in the outer corner. I'm so excited for the way this is gonna turn out because so far, this is so pigmented and easy. Okay, now I'm going into that Feeling Saucy shade on the same brush that I just cleaned off, and I'm gonna deepen it up in the inner and outer corner. Look at how pigmented it is. Man, this is easy, really easy to apply. Do I look like a sunset yet? Because that's what I'm hoping for. Okay, I'm gonna take that Ciao Bellini shade on the silicone brush and I'm going to pack it in the center of the eye and just see if it picks up on this silicone brush, because not all of the shimmers in my collection pick up on this brush really well. The ones that have a little bit more stick to them typically do. It's not picking up like as good as some of my shadows, but pretty good. This is such a chunky shade. Like I'm just gonna switch and pack. That's harder to get on than I was hoping for. I'm gonna go into the Grappa Don't Preach shade, which is almost like a gold, and kind of put it down here. Grappa? I don't know. I don't know if I said that name right. I want more sunset. More sunset, please. Some of the shimmers have like a little bit of fallout simply because they're just a really chunky formula. Honestly, the mattes are such good quality. They're blending like little dreamsicles. It's so good. I think I want to leave it there. I know that it's pretty simple, but it looks like a little sunset and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So let's go into the next eye. Since I did that one pretty orange, I am going to use this Holy Cannoli shade right here to kind of build my bridge is what I called it. I want to deepen it up with this When in Rome shade, which is more of a very true pink. I know I want to grab this one right here, which is Mamma Mia, which is like a purpley plum shade, and deepen it up even more. And then I'm definitely gonna try this Spritz and Gliss shade. Even though it's a topper, we're gonna see what kind of pigmentation we can get out of it. So we'll do like a pinky purple look as well. So just building my bridge for the little trolls to climb under. Back into that same packer brush, I just cleaned it off, and I'm going into, again, the inner and outer corner with this pinky shade. Oh, I guess I better keep my mouth closed. You know, sometimes on camera, you're like, oh, my mouth was hanging open. Okay, retake. It's hard not to, because I think all of us just sit here, like when we do our makeup and when we get lost in the process and our mouth just dangles open. Sorry. The pigmentation though is really surprising me. I shouldn't say surprising me, it's like pleasing. The fact that this is like such an easy, buildable, blendable shadow, and I'm not going back in, I'm not getting any patchiness, no fallout with like any of the mattes. It's just a really nice formulation on all these shadows so far. All right, now going into Mamma Mia on the same brush, I just cleaned it off. and deepening the inner and outer corner up. This is usually the kind of color that I start having trouble with, like pigmentation wise and patchiness, and so I'm really hoping that's not the case, but that tends to happen with these deeper shades. Okay, I need to stay away from the outer edges, but I'm going into the outer corner now and deepening this up. All right, we're going in with Spritz and Glitz, and let's see what kind of pigmentation we get out of this topper. I'm gonna be so sad. Yeah, it's a topper. I'm not giving up though. Like, it's giving me chunky all over my eyelash, but we're going with it. I'm gonna keep building. This is what I want. I am not stopping until this is like built up to what I desire. I just wish this was not a topper shade. I wish this was like a really chunky, impactful shimmer. Okay, I think that's it. This is not exactly what I was hoping for on this eye, simply because it's just not an impactful shimmer. It's a topper. So yeah, that's what I was using it as, and it looks exactly like a topper. I think that this is pretty good, and where I want to leave the eye look, it was so easy and simple. If you guys knew how long sometimes it takes me to sit here outside of filming to really just kind of like blend and clean up, you would be shocked at like how much detail work kind of goes into the back end of like putting on the eyeshadow, because I don't roll the camera the entire time. But this one was a lot simpler to apply. It was just super easy and blendable, and honestly they were very creamy and pigmented, and so it didn't really take a lot of building. Like I said, I wish this purple shimmer was just a little bit more impactful than a topper shade, because I'm just not getting what I want out of it. So I'm going into this Take Me to Church one that I use on the other eye and seeing if I can't build it up. Yeah, I'm gonna say, like, I hope I don't screw this up, because now I'm just like shimmer, 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 give me more shimmer. And these shimmers do not lay on top of each other well. Like, that is one thing that I will say. Even like trying to do this eye and like layering the shimmers, they do not lay nicely on top of each other. If I just keep going, I'm literally gonna get the same look. Okay, I think I need to quit building and building and building. I think this is it. I think this is like the desired effect that I wanted out of both eye looks. I'm pretty pleased. Like I said, I wish that I had that purple shimmer was just a little bit more impactful, because I think the right eye would have been so much nicer. Let me go ahead and just like finish up my makeup, and then we'll come back and we'll do a final wrap up, and we'll talk about the palette just a little bit more. Okay, we are back. I put on some lashes. Did I do the best job? I don't know. I'm trying new lashes. These are the Eylure London Pre-Glued Light and Wispy. I just picked these up. I feel like these are a new release. Maybe they're not. I don't know. I'll link them below. I picked them up with this palette from Ulta. I'm just one of those people who cannot stand to wait for the glue to dry when I'm putting on my lashes. So I thought I might like these. They're just a little bit long, and so I had to trim them down because I have pretty small eyes, and the trimming part was really hard when they're like pre-glued. It was like the lash was sticking to the scissors, and it was making it like difficult, because yeah, like just kind of like pulling apart the glue. I was like, oh no, it's kind of pulling the whole strip off. But anyway, let's get back to the palette. I do have some kind of final thoughts, and I will tell you how I just like smoked out the lower lash line. Of course, I just kind of took like the two shades that I was using for each eye. This one, the darkest shade, kind of like smoked out the bottom. I did use this one and this one on the right eye and kind of smoked that out as well. I just used a couple of different shimmers in the inner corner. This one for the left eye, and then I went back into my favorite shimmer here for the right eye. So this palette does retail for $54, so it is pricier. I think you're getting a lot of shades and a lot of variety. I think my couple of criticisms with this, even though I love like overall neutral, warm leaning palettes, especially this time of year, I just wish that the two kind of like pops of color here that are on the brighter side were more impactful. That's my only bummer about this. Like this shade, I don't know, like I can't really stand toppers that much because they just aren't what I'm looking for, and then every time I try and pull them into a look, it just doesn't give me what I was hoping for. So this one and this one, if these were like really impactful shimmers, it would have made this palette, I think, 5 times better. I think the formulation and everything that I tried was so much better than what I anticipated from Too Faced, because I heard that the formulation in their last like tin palette was not that good, but I can say this is overall good. It was blending itself. It made the application really, really easy. But yeah, I am so freaking bummed that these two bright pops of color are freaking toppers. I have done ranking videos a couple of times on my channel for the eyeshadows that I've tried, and honestly, like, one of my criticisms of some of the palettes is that some of my favorite shades in the palettes turn into toppers, and they're just not my preference. And so if you're somebody who's like that just doesn't care for toppers, I think that's gonna be a disappointment, a definite piece of disappointment for you. Overall though, I would give this palette an 8 out of 10. I think look quality is really good. I think the color story is very fun. I even see this palette and I think of like all the looks that I could create out of it. The only one that I feel like I'd have a hard time like incorporating into the look is probably these two shades, just because there's just not a whole lot to pair with them. But yeah, I mean, I could easily see this lightest shade being paired with some of the other colors. It's just a topper and it just didn't come off very well. That is really the only bummer. Otherwise, I'm really glad that I picked up this palette. I hope you guys enjoyed this little review. If you are a fan of like the Too Faced formula and you were wondering about the quality of this, I can definitely say that it's a recommendation from me, and I think other creators are feeling the same way. My only criticism overall is that those two shades that I loved the most were toppers. Other than that, I thought it was really good. I had a lot of fun playing with it. You guys, if you're new to my channel, I hope you consider subscribing. I am out of here and I will catch you all in my next video. Bye guys.